Oh, I haven't started a morning like that in such a long time, and I am so happy with myself that I decided to get the mask from Rise since I didn't have access to the tunnel that I originally got, because my goodness, is my skin happy with me. I cannot believe how good my skin is looking. The first thing I've noticed is my skin is a lot more dewier, like plump. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but it doesn't look so dull, and the acne has completely gone. I do have a few marks which I'm working on. There's a few I got randomly, spots on my cheeks here. I usually have them here, but randomly at the beginning of the year I had them here. So there's like a few marks in places, but they are diminishing by the day, which is so exciting. I'm currently using the mask around 3 times a week, so if I up that to daily use, the skin is just going to look incredible. So that's the plan, since we are back in Ravello, and as the summer is winding down, so it seems is the drama, but the drama is, I suppose, a bit more manageable. But yeah, we're still recovering a little bit, as is my skin, but my skin thankfully has the help from the Rise mask. It's such an incredible device, and it's such an amazing brand. I've said this before, where I've tried many of these masks, and I see many of these masks on the market, and they are not scientifically led. They're not brands that are doing it on a healing basis. They're doing it on a beauty sort of trend basis and have nothing to back that. To have this device which is doing my skin the world of good is honestly a blessing, because those of you that suffer with your skin will completely understand when I say, when my skin is bad, I mentally suffer so badly. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to see anyone. I don't even want to put makeup on because it's so sore. And I just think when you put makeup over it, it looks even worse. It just looks, I feel like it looks dirty. And I don't think there's anything better on a woman than beautiful skin. So I am well on my journey now, which is just amazing, and I have no pain on my face. I suffer with cystic acne, and honestly the pain sometimes gives me a headache or an earache, because it's usually sort of around here. Today there's nothing. And so I had the space and time to sit and have a constructive slow morning. I put chlorella liquid in my water, I sat down on the sofa, I got my diary out, I got my notebook out, I brainstormed, I planned, I dreamed, and I put on my Rise mask for about half an hour, and I have started the day in such a good mood. Even though the weather's not very good, it's very cloudy. Hopefully we get some sunshine afterwards, but my goodness, do I need to do this more often, because I haven't even been starting mornings. I haven't even been acknowledging mornings. I feel like I've been in a dark fog, and I've just been in autopilot. So having these slow mindful, present mornings with things that make me happy, that improve me and my life. These are the small things in life that make me very happy. And like I said, getting the mask just kicked me up the bottom, really. It just really kicked me off the bottom because my skin really was getting me down. And I just feel like I have so much more to give, but with my skin, if I'm having a bad skin day, I don't want to turn on the camera, I don't want to see anyone, I don't want to go anywhere, I don't want to do anything. If you have been considering light therapy for your skin, whether it be acne like me, or aging, or pigmentation, or whatever your skin issue is, light therapy, all the different light colours heal different parts of your face. The blue light is for acne, the red light is for aging, wrinkles, the infrared light, which this specific mask has a very strong one, goes at the deepest level. Whatever it may be, then this may be the opportunity, because I do still have my discount code. I'll pop it here for you. My code is AR10 and it gets you 10% off. I will pop it on screen here, and I will also link it all below in the description box for you, so you can go ahead and have a look and shop at your pleasure. I've also done some previous videos, which I'll also link below, where I'm going into more depth about the mask. But is this it? Is this the moment? Honestly, I had the same effect when I started using the tunnel. I got to this stage, and of course, obviously, our life just turned on its head, and I didn't use it anymore, and my skin declined very quickly. And only, was it been 2-3 weeks? And my goodness. If I can find a before picture of my skin, I will pop it here for you so you can see the progress I am having. But let's just document this moment of my skin, and then we'll relook at it again in a month or two and see where we're at. But it's definitely looking so much more healthier and plump. I even think a lot of my lines have reduced, because I used to get quite bad ones here, because I always like to smile, although this year I haven't been smiling very much, but I love a good laugh. And I also think these ones are reducing as well. I look forward to next month, where I can compare this Alessandra with the one in a month or two. I have got myself dressed and ready for today, and I have to say, I'm really liking my outfit today. It's a very transitional outfit from summer to autumn, particularly for Italy, because we still do have wonderful weather. The sun shines every day. I think we've got some rain coming tomorrow, but let's just forget that, it's just one day. I am starting to put away my more skimpier tops with less material, because it isn't that hot, and I can start wearing tops like this, along with my most favourite shorts, as you will all know from Amalfi, my linen flowy shorts. But paired with this top, I got this from Self Who, which is a brand that focuses on high quality products and not chasing trends, and I really love that, because I feel fashion isn't about chasing trends, it's about curating your own style. And when you do that using high quality products, these pieces are going to last in your wardrobe for a lifetime. So this top is actually handmade, and I love the details on it. There are so many. I've actually cinched it in with a belt, so just underneath you can see I've belted it, but you can't see because there is a lot of layering in this top. So you have this piece here which has this gorgeous pattern on it, let me show you, which elevates the top, I think, really beautifully. It's also got the most beautiful collar. It's very oriental, and I love that. I have these beautiful sleeves that are very airy, and although you're covered, you can still see the silhouette of your arm, which I really like. And the cuff comes in, as you can see, and they're quite deep cuffs, which I really love. The piece is very flowy and feminine and delicate, and I absolutely love it. Underneath you have a shirt style, so you've got buttons there. As I said, it consists of several pieces. If I take my belt off for you, you can see the top unbelted. So this is really lovely to wear, even just like this, if you don't like to belt things, with a pair of jeans. It will just work really well into your wardrobe. You could also pop a jumper over your shoulder, a cardigan. You can definitely wear this as a layering piece too, as the days get slightly cooler. But my goodness, I just think it works so well with these shorts. They do actually have matching shorts. They haven't arrived in time, which is why I popped them on with mine, but they've worked so well with my own shorts. So it just shows you any shorts that you have, you can pair this with. I did actually get a few other bits from Self Who, so I'll pop them on before I get on with my day. It's also the time of year where shirts start to make their way back in to my wardrobe, because over the summer they just get put away because it's just far too hot. And I love with this piece that you have the shirt detail just popping through at the bottom, and I love this colour shirt. In fact, if I could find a shirt in this colour, it would be amazing, with the white pinstripe. And then the base of the dress is navy blue. It has 2 pockets here. It's not too fitted, it's more of a shift dress. And you also have this matching print of the shirt that you have here, just here on the sleeve, which is lovely, and it brings the whole piece together. I've just matched it up with my black sandals and Stefania's beautiful navy bag from Porchette, and I think it works really well. And I think you're probably going to see Stefania wearing this a lot because this is right up her street, and I think it's going to suit her really beautifully. And lastly, this exquisite 2-piece. I'm absolutely in love, and I love how versatile these 2 pieces are. So it's in this beautiful sort of apricot colour. It's not white, which I really like, it's a bit more warming. Again, a beautiful outfit for these transitional days when it is still quite warm but not sweltering. I love this top. So the top is elasticated here, which is fundamental with off the shoulder tops, because I've had a few in my time, and there's nothing worse than being restricted and not being able to move your arms, or the piece of fabric slipping off up onto your neck because it just doesn't have any give. So you have that. You also have it in the sleeves, which is really lovely, so you can adjust them to where you want to wear them. And there's also a detail that I have in this bag that I've taken off because I quite like it like this. However, there is the option to have a detachable 3D flower, as you can see, that you clip on just here if you want an extra little detail on the top. You can also take that off and with the string part wrap it around your neck like that if you'd like to wear it like that. And also, of course, you can just wear this with other pieces of clothing, other outfits. So you know what I mean by a very versatile top. There's also wool in the fabric, so again, you're getting that little bit of extra warmth as the days start to cool. I'll pop this back in my bag that I've styled up the outfit with because I can't get enough of this bag, oh my goodness, and it works so well. The skirt is beautiful, the fit is just amazing. I will pull out the top so you can see them separately. So the top, in fact, has quite a bit of fabric in it, which allows for the option to wear with trousers or just over the skirt like this if you prefer not to have the piece tucked in. If you like this more relaxed look, you can wear it like this. You could also pop a belt over it if you want to wear it like that. I haven't seen what this looks like, but it's an option if you wanted to wear it like that, not tucked in, and you can see the top in all its glory. And as for the skirt, the fit, as I mentioned, is just phenomenal. So you can see it fits me so well around my waist. There's a nice band there to hold you in. There's also elastic here in the back, so you have space to breathe, because there's nothing worse with these types of skirts when there's no elastic whatsoever. You're very restricted when you sit down, when you move, when you eat, when you breathe. It feels fine from the moment you put it on, but as the day progresses or as the night progresses, it starts to feel a little bit uncomfortable. So when brands think of these little details, I truly appreciate it. So it has that. It also has a nice detail here in the middle of the skirt, just adding a little bit more interest to it. And the fabric is wonderful. It's very light, it's very airy, but again, like I said, it has a bit of wool introduced into it to bring in the element of warmth going into these slightly cooler months. And as you can imagine, you could just pop this on with a t-shirt, a strap top. If it is still quite warm, there are so many ways you could wear the skirt. So 2 amazing additions to the wardrobe that you're going to get a lot of wear out of and style up many outfits. I will of course link all of these pieces in the description box for you. They will all be linked on my LTK, so you can shop them really easily. I'll pop everything down below. And yeah, I'm going to get back into my first outfit to crack on with the day. Oh wow, that breeze is phenomenal. It feels amazing. We are due a storm tomorrow, so that's probably why I'm starting to feel this beautiful wind glide through my balcony doors, and it is most welcomed because it is slightly, it's not boiling hot anymore, but when you're working and changing outfits, you do get a little bit hot. regardless of the weather. I thought I'd sit down with you guys because I feel like we've just been running here, there and everywhere and not giving you many updates with what's actually been going on, which I quite like because we don't have to focus on the drama and we can just enjoy the fun moments life is giving us and we can share them with you, which is just wonderful. However, I think it's important to at least give you small updates for now, even though I myself don't know the entire picture and I'm still trying to figure things out. At least we can sort of document it together. So we're back in Ravello, as you can probably tell, and spending those 2 weeks in Lucca was actually much needed. Even though we had lots to do in the villa, there was a lot of physical work to be done, but just being able to shut off the mind and not really think about anything that's happened this year and not deal with situations old and new, because even with the situation that we left in London, there are still aspects that we are still dealing with. More Stefania because she is being contacted, but also the new and ongoing situations that have happened here in Ravello. So we've left Lucca feeling rested mentally, which I didn't realise how exhausted we both were. We were just in fight or flight, and I was saying to Stefania, I cannot believe how we got through this year. I cannot believe our strength, I cannot believe our courage, I cannot believe the endurance that we both have. I don't know how many times I said to Stefania, we are hardcore, Steph, like we are hardcore. How are we doing all of this? Because like I've said so many times, spiritually, mentally, physically, there's so many aspects of dealing with all these things that you have to be ready for at any given time. I mean, we were dealing with things in the morning, we were dealing with things middle of the night, we've been dealing with family, we've been dealing with aggression, we've been dealing with authorities in another country, speaking another language with another law. And yeah, being in Lucca, it wasn't planned, but we did spend a lot of time slightly isolated, I would say. We both sort of just retreated to our rooms and whatever it is that we were doing. I mean, if it was reading things online or just scrolling through TikTok like aimlessly or listening to music, it was all necessary just to shut down our minds for a minute. And coming back here on the drive up, I said to Stefania, I feel powerful again. I'm not scared. Like, I left feeling a little bit scared with everything that's going on in Ravello, a little bit scared, and I felt weak. However, I know I haven't come across weak, but I felt it. I just felt really, really knackered. And when you're tired, everything feels like an absolute mission. And I certainly, like I said, I could feel it and I could see it as well on my face, on my skin. My skin is improved so much just over those 2 weeks. Before that, nothing would heal. Remember, when you sleep, your body repairs, and we were getting very, very little sleep. So it was really wonderful to come back, and I'm going to take the little wins because there have been many losses, or what seem to be losses this year, but in fact I think they're going to be wins. But I will take this little win because in true Ravello fashion, we hadn't even made it to the front door last night. We got in about 10 o'clock. We were just outside about 20 steps from the front door, and somebody approached us to give us some information about our situation, and it made me feel quite happy with myself and with Stefania, and it's been the first thing that's happened that has given us quite a boost. So coming here and arriving and it being immediate was just wonderful. So basically what's happened, well, those of you that are subscribed will already get a gist of what's happened in Ravello with the closing off of one of our rooms in the property. Those of you that are new, I would probably suggest you go back to that video. I think it was called Thank You. I'll link it below. But I will sit down with this situation and explain it fully. I don't know when, because this is a situation that we are learning as we go. This is completely new to us. We have no idea what is going on, how to deal with it, and we are literally learning by the day. To make a very, very long story short for the context of this video, when we arrived in Ravello this year, things had happened in the property, or around the property even, whilst we'd been away. Now, this is a situation that has been going on since the pandemic. So just to give you a quick overview of what happened over the pandemic is obviously we were all stuck in our homes, in our countries, and we couldn't go anywhere, leaving this property in Italy, which it was my grandmother's and now is my dad's, empty. And whilst we were away, somebody who I know who it is, and unfortunately it's a family member, theme of the year, not a close family member, but nevertheless a family member, sold the mountain underneath our property. Now, that mountain technically, in my opinion, and from just learning about the laws in Italy and how things work and also speaking to professionals, that mountain belongs to us because it's under our property. And it also shouldn't ever be touched because it's the foundation of where my property sits and the person above. And while we were locked up in London, somebody in the village bought this piece of mountain and decided to excavate it and make a enormous hole underneath to basically make another Airbnb. That's their business, and apparently, as I've learned, this is what they do, and they have a lot of properties and this is what they go around doing. So the first problem is that they've bought something that I don't think is theirs, but that has now become a smaller issue given the bigger problem that we have, which is when they decided to do this work, they did it illegally. Abusivo it's called in Italian. You need to have permission and building regulations to start the work. This person decided to take it upon themselves to take a piece of machinery and drill into the mountain themselves. Now in Italy, the law was, and I don't know if it still is that if you put a door and a window on a building, it's harder for anybody to stop you or query what you're doing. Now, fortunately, when I arrived here, I think it was in 2021, I walked past the bottom of the property because there's two ways you can walk into the property, and it's not one I use often, but I just so happened to walk past it and I saw that there was a window that I'd never seen before and some new holes. And I went inside because technically, as far as I knew, this was ours. So I went inside and I'd seen that they'd made a huge hole underneath the property. Now, things started to fall in place because when I arrived that year in 2021, I noticed in the property things had been broken or smashed. For example, things that were on the walls were on the floor. The tiles on the floor were all sort of like, they still are, they're all like this. You can't walk without any shoes. My balcony doors don't open properly because the floor has lifted, so they either screech across the floor or they just don't, they only open to a certain point. You also can't close the balcony doors because the property has been moved, so nothing is aligned, so the doors sort of sit on top of each other like that rather than like that. Windows are smashed. The bidet, the bottom of the bidet had fallen out. The water pressure in the house is very weak. What else? Interior doors, the same, they don't open fully. So I knew something had happened and I just assumed it had been an earthquake. I don't know why, but I just thought, oh, there must have been an earthquake and it's moved the property in some way. And I didn't really think too much of it at the time because, as I mentioned, we had just had a pandemic and I was just happy to be in Italy and get out and just enjoy life. But I will never forget something that happened on the day that I arrived in Ravello. So I arrived and it was about 2.5, 3 weeks later when I realised what had happened downstairs. But the night of the day I arrived, when I went to sleep, now many of you are going to think I'm wacky and many of you are going to completely understand this, and it honestly gives me goosebumps when I think about it. But I went to sleep and I had a dream, and in this dream it was me being in this flat, and it was as if going back 15-20 years, and Nonna was here, and it felt so real. It felt like I'd gone back, like I'd time traveled. It didn't feel like a dream. I could smell my Nonna's cooking. I could feel her standing there, even though I was in the living room and she was cooking in the kitchen. But she was basically cooking, and it was a wonderful sunny day as usual. Myself and Spania were here, and my Nonna, and she's cooking away, and she says to me, come here, I want to show you something. And in the dream I was quite young because, like I said, it was as if I was going back 15-20 years. So I had that attitude of like, oh, like, Nonna, I'm doing something. And she was like, no, come here, I need to show you something, I want to show you something. And she took me around for the entire dream, going to me, okay, now look at this, what do you think of this? And I'd be like, yeah, It's great, it's nice. Okay, come here. She'd take me to another part of the flat. What do you think of this? And I was like, it's really good, Nonna, really, really great. And my thinking when it was happening was, she's obviously painted it or something. She's just done some work on it. And she's taken me around the whole place, the bathroom, the living room, the bedroom, everywhere, and repeated, look at this, what do you think of this? And that was the dream. Now, when I discovered what I did downstairs, I instantly thought of that dream, and it was my nonna saying to me, look around the house, go and have a look. Open your eyes, you silly girl. She must have been sitting there for the entire 3 weeks thinking, this bloody stupid girl, because my grandmother never ever minced her words. She told you exactly what she thought. She must be thinking, what is she doing? How can she not see? And it's bizarre, because when I realised you can't not see it, the whole property is damaged. Fast forward to this year, of course I walked past because it's in my interest to. I noticed the window was ajar. It was a really sunny day and I couldn't see inside because of the glare of the sun. So I took my phone and I put it in and I filmed the space downstairs to see if anything had changed. And when I pulled the phone out and re-watched the video, I could not believe my eyes. The hole has been made much bigger. It's in fact it's a big double room downstairs with really high ceilings, so high that you can see the tiles of this floor. And I noticed on the video crack on our tiles. So in that moment I panicked and I called the fire brigade and they came up. Now in Italy we've learned that fire brigade, the vigili fuoco, are the highest point when it comes to things like this. When they step in, it's very, very serious. So up until this point we've been dealing with the local police in Ravello, the carabinieri from Ravello, lawyers, and for 3 years all of these people have been very quiet. Nothing's moved. I've heard nothing, and when I go to them they sort of just want to joke about. And I just respected this because I don't know the law, I don't know anything, I don't know what's going on, but now I understand what's going on. So I called the vigili fuoco because I was very concerned about the safety of us living upstairs with this huge hole and cracks. Also, we'd noticed whilst being in the house for about 5 days after we'd arrived, we could smell gas. We could hear noises like movement in the mountain, and we were told if you heard any of these noises you need to call the vigili fuoco immediately. So we'd been hearing these noises, we'd been smelling gas, and then I saw these cracks, so I called them and they blocked off the bedroom because they said it was too unsafe. They also said they wanted to block off the remainder of the property, however they knew we had nowhere else to live, and because there was a bathroom adjoined to this room, we were able to live in it for now. But they did assure me that now things would have to move quicker because they had got involved. So that was fine. Not the news we wanted after the situation in London, but at least it felt like we were getting somewhere. Around that period of time, I can't remember exact time frames because I was so tired, but my car got keyed and this person tried to hit me. So I've done several denunces, which are denounces. We don't have them in England, but you can denounce somebody here, and it's quite a serious thing. Anytime I've done one, people are like, are you sure we're doing? I'm just like, yeah, of course I'm going to do one, because this person's going to hit me, this person's damaged my car, this person's damaged my property, like of course I'm going to denounce them. These denunces were just disappearing into thin air basically. So we got really fed up one day and we went to Amalfi, because since we've recently learnt, Amalfi is the main police force of the coast. So Ravello and all these little villages, they're not really, I mean they are of course carabinieri, but for example you can't detain somebody in Ravello, but you can detain somebody in Amalfi. And another thing we've recently learned, and it's scary, it's also very interesting, it's also mind-blowing, and it also feels like we are literally living a movie or some sort of series, because it's only things I've ever watched. I've never experienced them in real life. But something we've recently learned is the authorities of Ravello, unfortunately, are very, very close friends with the person that did what they did downstairs, which has made, I'm smiling, but it's not funny at all, but it has made it a lot harder, and that is why things have not been moving. This is why paperwork has been disappearing into thin air. I have been sent on wild goose chases. For example, a police officer will say to me, oh, we need this piece of paper, thinking I'd lost it. if we get this piece of paper, then we can move forward. And I would spend months looking for this piece of paper and find it, go back, be like, I've got it. And they're like, oh, no, you need something else. And this went on for 3 years. And it wasn't until recently I realised what's been going on. So the last thing that happened with the authorities in Ravello is we went to the mayor. I was told to go to the mayor, and he basically laughed at me. He was laughing at me. And I said to him, you think it's funny that I'm living in a property I could fall through? You think it's funny that I'm being bullied by people in this village? You think it's funny? And he was just going, it's not my problem, it's not my problem. And he also said that I went there to say, have you received the paperwork from the fire brigade? Because that was a very important document that was sent out to all the authorities, the mayor, the carabinieri, lawyers, everything. That just goes out to everybody. And he said no. And this was 2 weeks after, and I said, 2 weeks have passed and you haven't received? No, nothing. And after I left his office, which by the way didn't go very well, we had a massive argument, and I told him about himself, because that's the type of person I am. I'm very honest and direct, and people say to me, you can't say that to him. And I just think, well, why not? He's a human, I'm a human, and he needs to be told about himself, because the gist that I'm getting from the village is that he's very disliked and he is ruining Ravello. So I basically told him that to his face, and I said, we can't wait for 2027 basically for our new mayor. But anyway, after we left the mayor's office, we went straight to the Vigile Fuoco in Maiori, because that's where the ones that came to us that day were based. And Stefania, she really does make me laugh. She's not one to argue or have confrontation, but when she does, and it happens just randomly in the most random place at the most random time, but it happened at the fire brigade. I hadn't even said 2 words, and she was outside going, you've been lying, blah blah blah, nobody wants. And she had the lawyer on the phone, and she was speaking to them, and she was just having a go at all of them. And the Vigile Fuoco, the main one, is a really nice guy. And he said to her, come here. And he took her away, and he said, not you, to me. And he said, not you, to my dad, just Stefania. And I was like, oh my God, what are they going to do to her? And basically he proved to her that paperwork was sent to the mayor, and in fact the mayor was lying. So now we have another situation with them in getting the paperwork and creating a case to prove that this was done and they're not lying. So from that moment onwards, I've been going around Ravello like a mad woman, I don't care. And I have been telling everybody, exactly what's happened. Because my thinking is that if I can tell as many people as I can, and I can alert and educate as many people here as humanly possible about who this person truly is and what they've done to me and my family and my home and my car and me, the better. I actually approached the newspaper, the local newspaper, but you can guess how that went down, because they're friends. So I also said to that person, well, if you're not going to put it in the paper, I'm going to say it to as many people, and I'm sure that my voice is going to go a lot further than your paper. Which I did, basically, even though I was begged not to. And over that period of time between the last thing that happened with the authorities and us leaving Lucca, I started to get contacted by mutual friends. My friends, I think, are not really friends with these people. However, they've been contacted by the people that caused the damage. They are trying to make contact with me. And I have, for the 3rd time now, said no, I don't want to talk to them. And I know what's coming. They basically don't want this to go any further. So what I think's happened is that I think we have lifted the lid on a much bigger issue than just what's happened to me. That's my personal opinion. And they're basically desperate for me to shut up, which is great. But of course, we are having to be very, very careful, because you just don't know what people are like or what they're going to do. And from what we've learned, and of course this is something that is happening all over the world, but people can be easily bought. Or because it's a village, people don't want to cause problems with other people. You know, their friend or brother or cousin relies on these people for work, or is kind of related to them, because of course it's a small village. It has a residency of just under 2,000 people. So I get it. However, I am just cut from a different cloth. I don't care. When I see disrespect, it boils my blood. And there is nothing that will stop me from saying something. I am a very direct, very honest person. And I've said to people in the village, I am the nicest person. I'm the nicest person. I will help you. I will give you my time. I will listen. I will do everything I can. But see, the minute that you disrespect me or my family or people I love, or even just anybody that I know that has been hurt by somebody disrespecting them, I am going to say something. I am going to try and help, because I cannot stand it. And so I've been saying this to people in the village, and it's obviously getting back to them. And I've also said that I cannot be bought, because this is what they do. Apparently they buy people. And I've said to them, you cannot buy me for £1 million. You can't buy me for 2 million, 3 million. You just cannot buy me. Nobody can. So you can just forget that. I am thinking maybe they're trying to run me out of my grandmother's property, but this means the world to me, my family. This was my grandmother's house. She slaved away, working hard. She came to London from this poor village, because Ravello was such a poor village, and she had to leave. She had to leave to get money. And she came to London, and she was a domestic, and she looked after families, and she worked really, really hard to get what she had, and she put a lot of money into this property. And I remember one of the last things my nonna said to me, bearing in mind she couldn't breathe very well because she had lung cancer, and she'd lost basically all the capacity of her lungs by the end of it. The doctor said it was like she was underwater. She managed to say to me and Stefania and my dad, have I left this place nice for you? Have I left it comfortable? Is it going to be okay for you? And I said, yes, Nonna, you have. It's wonderful, thank you. And sorry. And to be in this situation where, you know, it's not as comfortable. Of course it still is, because just her energy is here. Like myself and Stefania arrived yesterday, and we're just back at Nonna's, and it just feels so wonderful. But of course all the work that she's put in and left for us has been damaged. And I know that she'll be so angry that we're having to go through this, because she went through her own wars here with people and property, and it is honestly a sickness here. And it's so sad, because it breaks up families. And I mean, you've seen what's happened with Stefania's family in London, and I just think it's so sad that money and property and assets take over a person's morals and love and community and family. It honestly just baffles me, and it makes me so sad. So for more than anything, and that's what I've said to many people in the village so that it gets back to them, I am not going to be bought, and that is my nonna's house, and that is the most important thing to me. So forget it. So basically, circling back to last night when we arrived, as we were walking up the stairs, somebody stopped us and said, oh, you know, how was your trip? When did you arrive back? As if they were waiting for us. And they said to us, you are breaking their balls. And he told us that what we've started has unleashed a snowball of problems for them. People that were experiencing problems with them in the past have gained the courage through what we've done to speak out, take steps to protect themselves, their families, their properties, whatever's going on. I don't know any details, I don't know any names. I wish I did, so we could form an alliance against these people. But it was just so wonderful to hear. Also, apparently their staff who do building work can't work, so unfortunately the staff are angry with myself and Stefania because their work has been stopped because of this. But it isn't our fault, it's their employer's fault. So that's happened, and apparently this person said to them, these two girls, talking about myself and Stefania, have balls this big, and he gestured like huge, and I was like, yes we do, yes we do. And it was just wonderful that someone saw that in us and is sharing that message. And he said that, well, we've not just heard it from this one person, we've heard it from several people, that these people are very, very upset. They're walking around with angry faces, and now I understand the urgency to talk to me. So that was our small win yesterday, and I am so very happy and proud with myself and Stefania. And we both said when we got in, it was very late, it was 12 o'clock when we actually got in the house after that conversation, but we sat down and we were like, let's go again. We have the power, we have the energy, we have the courage, we have support. I mean, I don't know how many people have come up to me on the quiet because they don't want to be seen talking to us about this, going, well done girls, keep going, don't take your foot off the pedal. It's as if they've been waiting for a moment like this, and it is really, really wonderful. Obviously there's people that are angry with us, and we do have to deal with that side of it, and we are being very careful and cautious. But yeah, it was just a really lovely thing to hear, and it was lovely to hear people seeing it in us, seeing that we can do it. And it was really nice also because they said, you are dealing with extremely intelligent girls. And that just made my night. And as the artist just started to sculpt, as you can hear, so I should wrap this up. But yeah, it's a very difficult situation. Of course, we're learning the Italian law as we go. I don't even know the English law completely, so it's very, very difficult. We're learning it in another language. We're also learning that a village operates very differently from a city. So with all of that combined, I will do my best to keep you guys updated. Of course, there's a lot of things legally that I cannot say until this is all over. And I will sit down and explain everything in complete detail for you. I will, of course, give you the little updates as they go. But yeah, we have a big fight in front of us, and what happened last night by all means hasn't really got us anywhere legally. However, to hear that we've rocked the boat is a start, in my opinion, because I believe in energy and I believe in doing the right thing and speaking your truth and not being scared. I mean, I was told because I was a woman I couldn't speak the way I was speaking. So my answer to that was, well, who told you I was a woman? So there's another rumour going around the village, but I really don't care, because I am not going to let people bully me or my family or destroy the things that myself and my family have worked so hard for, and ultimately take away our peace, because we haven't done that to anybody. So I hope I've painted a bit of a picture for you with the situation in Ravello. The situation in London, nothing's really changed, to be honest. We're just trying to move through it, and we still have no plans. We still don't really know what we're doing. We are literally going with the flow. We're taking us where the wind takes us. We're here for a few weeks, and then we're going to head back to Lucca, so Stefania can get her residency finalised, hopefully, fingers crossed, because that would just be one thing off this enormous list of life that we need to tick off. But ultimately, we still see our blessings in the day. We are so grateful for one another. We try and laugh through it. I mean, some days it's hard, some days we are very, very moody and upset, and we cry and we shout, but it's necessary to allow those emotions out of the body. You should never, ever, ever hold things in. It's not good for you. But as I said, we've come back energized and positive, and after that little conversation last night, it really did give us a boost.